What's going on, everybody? Mortem here, this time bringing you a look at my favorite acts in Pathfinder Wrath of the Righteous. Now, this kind of video is, for starters, kind of hard to do without some spoilers. I'm not really going to be going over anything like major plot related, but it is kind of hard to do a video like this without mentioning some spoilers at least, though. Be warned. And beyond that, I decided to do this video just to kind of mix things up a little bit, do something a little different, and kind of just see if people enjoyed it or not. Because the chapters or acts that the game is broken up to, I absolutely have favorites and least favorites for. So with no further ado, my least favorite act is in fact Act 2. So Act 2 is basically just the march on Dresden and then the siege after actually taking it. And while I really enjoy the siege itself, the rest of the act kind of falls flat for me because it just kind of feels like an elongated crusade management tutorial. And most of the storytelling and things that take place are really just like getting things started. There's not a lot of like super interesting stuff. There is some stuff, of course. But for me, the only thing I really enjoy in Act 2 is the siege on Dresden. And then my second least favorite one is Act 5. So Act 5 is basically a wrap-up chapter. There are some absolutely cool things happening, for sure, don't get me wrong. But Chapter 5 is basically where the game goes, alright, we're going to give you the time you need to do all of the things before the game ends. And while it has some really cool fights, as well as the conclusion to most of your companion quests, in comparison to some of the other acts of the game, I'm less thrilled about it than those. Then in fourth place, we have Act 3. Now, I have a decent appreciation for Act 3, because Act 3, you've just gotten your mythic path choice, you're kind of feeling out what that actually means for you, what that brings to the table changes-wise, and it's cool to kind of see those paths start to come to fruition. The only real knock on Act 3 for me is that you have to do a lot of traveling around, and you're constantly getting hit with random encounters most of the time because everything in that act is incredibly spread out, and until you get your teleportation circles and your forts set up, it can be a real pain to actually travel around the map. Now, for third place, we have Act 6. Act 6 is very short. It is basically the equivalent of Act 8 in Kingmaker. That is to say, it is quite literally the end of the game. And while it is definitely cool to see the culmination of all your decisions, it is nonetheless pretty short. However, I really enjoy Act 6, again, just because of that. I like to see all the culmination and the end of the game, so to speak, as we kind of see all that stuff coalesce and all the decisions we made actually meet the end of the road, so to speak. And then in second place, we have Act 1. I love Act 1, actually. It has a couple pain points here and there overall, but I will say that the concept of having to like fight off this demon-invaded city from the inside is just a really cool concept, and that's actually why I'm looking forward to that DLC they announced, where they're basically going to put you in the role of just everyday people in that situation. And that's just a really cool story concept for me, so I enjoy Act 1 just a ton, just right off the bat there, because there's a lot of cool things going on there. And I think as an adventure, that's just a really strong way to start. And then, for my favorite act in the game, that of course leaves us with Act 4. Act 4 brings you to the demon city of Elushanira. Maybe I'm saying that right, probably not. But it is a demon city, otherwise known as the Midnight City, and it is amazing. Visually, it is very cool. You get to see all this culture and stuff going on for demons, because in that plane, they're just people. But you get to see how all of that plays out. And it's one thing to like read about this stuff in like tabletop games and stuff, but then actually see a fully realized version of that city where you actually get to go to different parts of the city. They used tech actually to make the maps move around in just that one city, which makes it overall probably one of the most unique locations I've been to in a video game, and I will more than likely remember that place for quite some time. So there you go, guys, just kind of a brief overview of my favorite acts list form in Pathfinder Wrath of the Righteous. If you enjoyed this video, which admittedly it was kind of a bit of a different thing for me to do, just thought it might be fun, but if you did enjoy it, hit like, comment, subscribe, all that YouTube jazz. But regardless of any of that, truly, just thank you so much for watching. May you wander in wisdom and have an amazing day.